Right. So welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah.
And today, we're diving into the idea that the universe kind of hates your comfort zone.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's actually kind of working against you staying comfortable. And we're basing this off of this article called "The Universe Hates Your Comfort Zone."
Right.
And we're going to be looking at a whole bunch of other like research and even ancient wisdom to kind of unpack this idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess to just jump right into it, the article kind of starts out by suggesting that the universe, it's not that it's like mean or out to get us.
Right.
It's more like it wants to see us, you know?
It wants to see you kind of reach your potential.
Yeah, exactly.
And kind of, I think the analogy that they use is like, a gardener
Oh, okay.
who wants to see their seeds actually blossom.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to do that, they have to go through these uncomfortable transformations.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's so true. And the article actually uses a couple of pretty like vivid examples, like the seed, right?
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
seed has to crack open, like literally break apart
Yeah.
in order to sprout.
Yeah.
Or the caterpillar, right? Like it has to completely dissolve itself to become a butterfly.
It's wild.
It's like wild. It's like if you think about it from that perspective, that is so uncomfortable.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so if you think about like the challenges that we face in life, maybe they're not like, punishment or something like that.
Right.
But like actually steps towards us becoming.
Yeah. I mean, that's a compelling thought for sure.
Yeah.
That's the thing the article sort of brings up is like, what if those uncomfortable stages are actually like the most crucial ones?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if the seed was just like, nah, I'm just going to stay like comfy and cozy in here.
Yeah. Or if the caterpillar's like, you know what? This cocoon is actually pretty nice. I'm just going to hang out here.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Like then you'd never get the beautiful plant. You'd never get the butterfly.
Right.
So it's like maybe discomfort is kind of necessary for that transformation to take place.
And I think that's the thing. It dives into this idea of like vibration and frequency and how everything in the universe is kind of vibrating at a certain level, including our thoughts and our emotions.
So like how does that tie back into the comfort zone?
Yeah. So if you think about it, like let's say you have like a river that's flowing.
Okay.
It's clear, it's vibrant, it's constantly moving.
Okay.
Whereas if you have a stagnant pond, it's murky, it's still like things aren't really living in it.
Right.
Right. And so, what the article is kind of arguing is that comfort zones are like that stagnant pond.
Oh, okay.
They create a stagnant frequency, which kind of goes against the natural flow of the universe, which is all about like growth and expansion.
So it's like if we stay stuck in our comfort zones, we're kind of like we're choosing to be the stagnant pond.
Exactly.
Instead of like the flowing river. Okay, yeah.
It even gets to this idea of like, our souls kind of choose challenges before we're born.
Oh, wow.
Like, we kind of sign up for, like, a specific curriculum of lessons in this lifetime, and our comfort zones are us trying to skip class.
Like, we're playing hooky.
Yeah, we're playing hooky from the universe's classroom.
And the universe is like, nope, get back in here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, like, those, those recurring patterns that we have, right? Where, like, we feel like we keep getting stuck in the same situation or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not just bad luck, but it's like the universe going, like, hey, you didn't quite learn that one. Let's try it again from a different angle.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And I think that actually brings us to a fascinating connection to, like, modern science.
Oh,
Remember neuroplasticity, like how our brain can actually rewire itself.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that novelty and challenge are, like, key ingredients for neuroplasticity.
So, like, those limiting beliefs we often tell ourselves, like, oh, I'm too old to learn that, or I'm just not good at this,
right,
are actually, like, creating those neural pathways that keep us stuck.
Exactly.
It's like we're literally hardwiring ourselves for limitation.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Before we go too much further, the article mentions something called the law of polarity. Can you kind of explain what that is?
Yeah, so the law of polarity kind of suggests that comfort and growth exist on, like, opposite ends of a spectrum.
Oh.
Right? So our comfort zones offer us this false sense of security.
Okay.
Whereas, like, true security comes from actually developing resilience, and resilience is built by facing and overcoming challenges, not by avoiding them.
So, like, playing it safe might actually be making us less secure in the long run.
It's a very interesting thought.
It's like they say.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and what's even fascinating is that this idea of discomfort as a catalyst for growth is also found in like all these different spiritual traditions throughout history.
Oh, okay.
Like it's not just a new age concept. Like this has been around for a long time.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're gonna dive into that a little bit more when we come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking about how the universe might actually be pushing us toward growth through discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, we've looked at like the seed and caterpillar analogy, right?
Yeah.
And the idea of stagnant energy versus flowing energy and the role of challenges
Yeah.
and even neuroplasticity.
Mm-hmm.
And and the law of polarity, that was a good one.
Yeah.
But now we're going to kind of look at this idea
Mm.
through a slightly different lens.
Okay.
The lens of alchemy,
Well, alchemy.
which
Like,
sounds kind of outside, but
yeah, like turning lead into gold, right?
yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it's not just about transforming physical substances.
Mhm.
It's also a really powerful metaphor for like inner transformation.
Okay, so how does this all, like, how does alchemy
Mm-hmm.
relate to our comfort zones?
So alchemy teaches that transformation requires a breakdown before rebuilding.
Oh,
Right. Think of it like renovating a house. Like you can't just start adding like fancy new features without tearing down the old, like outdated structures.
so are you saying our comfort zones are like those,
Yeah, like those old structures that need to be demolished before we can like really transform.
okay.
The first stage in the alchemical process is actually called nigredo, or the blackening, and it symbolizes a descent into darkness, like a dismantling of old structures to make way for something new.
Oh, wow, that sounds kind of intense.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, but I think the point is that sometimes we do need to let go of like those old ways of being
Yeah.
before we can embrace something new.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and the article actually compares clinging to comfort to like holding your breath.
Oh, okay.
You know, like you can't just keep inhaling without ever exhaling.
Right.
It's not sustainable.
You got to breathe out.
Exactly. You got to
It-
breathe out.
Okay, so it's like the universe is kind of saying like, hey, you can't keep like holding on to these old patterns.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to like let go
To let go, yeah.
and make space for something new.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, the universe orchestrates those breakdowns,
Mm.
those periods of discomfort
Mm-hmm.
to create the conditions for like a higher level of order to emerge.
So even though it might feel chaotic and uncomfortable, like in the moment, it's actually part of like a bigger
It's part of the process.
process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
I mean, think of it like a forest fire, right? Like
Okay.
it might seem super destructive at first, but it actually clears the way for new growth.
Oh, that's true.
And the article actually mentions this yogic concept of Ida and Pingala, which are like two opposing energy currents that flow through our bodies.
Wait, can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so in yogic philosophy, Ida represents like the cooling lunar energy.
Okay.
It's associated with rest and introspection.
Okay.
And then Pingala is like the warming solar energy that fuels our drive and ambition.
Okay, so Ida's kind of like our comfort zone energy.
You could say that.
And Pingala is like our growth energy.
Exactly.
Okay.
And what the article points out is that, you know, this cosmic dance is actually reflected in our own bodies,
Oh, really?
even in our breath.
Wow.
Like our nostrils alternate dominance throughout the day.
Oh, you mean like one nostril's more open than the other?
Exactly.
Wow, I never even noticed that.
It's a subtle thing, but it's there. And when Ida and Pingala are in balance, they awaken Sushumna.
Sushumna.
Yeah, which is the central energy channel that flows along the spine.
Okay.
And this is said to lead to like heightened awareness and spiritual awakening.
Wow. Okay, so it's like by resisting discomfort, we're kind of resisting the very rhythm that drives our evolution.
It's a very interesting thought.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the article suggests that discomfort's not something to be like feared or avoided, but rather an integral part of that cosmic dance that leads to growth and transformation.
Okay.
Like saying yes to the full spectrum of human experience.
This is so mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Like we've covered alchemy, Nigredo, now Ida and Pingala.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the universe has all these ways of kind of nudging us towards growth, even if it means pushing us out of our comfort zones.
Yeah.
But the article isn't stopped there.
No, it goes even deeper.
It goes even deeper, suggesting that discomfort can actually help us confront.
Yeah, like the hidden parts of ourselves.
Ooh, you mean like our shadow selves?
Yeah, like those shadow aspects that we tend to avoid or
Like
deny.
shadow work.
Exactly, shadow work.
Okay.
And the article explains that, like, our comfort zones are often where our egos like to hide. They cling to their limited sense of self,
Right.
afraid to venture out into the unknown.
Okay.
But when the universe disrupts our comfort, it forces us to face those shadow aspects we'd rather keep buried.
It's like the universe is saying, like, hey, you can't keep hiding from yourself. It's
Yeah.
time to face your shadows and, like, integrate them.
Exactly.
Okay, welcome back to the deep dive.
Mm.
You know, it's been quite a journey exploring this idea that the universe might be kind of like pushing us towards grace
Yeah.
through discomfort,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? And we've covered so much
Mm.
alchemy and Ida and Pingala. But before we wrap up,
Right.
I kind of want to bring it back down to earth a little bit.
Okay.
You know, what can we actually, like, take away from all this?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to get, like, lost in the concepts and the ideas.
Yeah.
But the real magic happens when we actually put this stuff into practice.
Right.
Right. So I think if we were to recap everything, you know, the article and all these different perspectives, kind of point to this one key idea that the challenges we face are not meant to break us. They're meant to help us grow.
Yeah, it's like those resistance workouts at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're pushing your muscles to their limits.
Yeah.
But that's how they get stronger.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like the universe is like our personal trainer or something.
Yeah, the universe is like, come on, let's go. One more rep.
Yeah, pushing us to our limits so we can, like,
Yeah, build that resilience.
become, like, you know,
Build that adaptability.
their best selves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it brings us back to that idea of stagnation, right?
Yeah.
Like, remember the stagnant pond versus the flowing river?
Right.
The article is kind of saying, like, if we're always choosing comfort,
Yeah.
like, at all costs,
We're choosing to be that stagnant pond.
we're choosing to be the stagnant pond
Mm-hmm.
instead of embracing that natural flow.
Right. Instead of that, like, natural expansion and growth
Yeah.
that the universe kind of wants for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And remember neuroplasticity,
Yeah.
you know, our brain's amazing ability to, like,
To rewire itself.
rewire itself. Yeah.
Right. But here's the thing. That only happens when we introduce novelty and challenge.
So, like, if we're constantly on autopilot,
Mm-hmm.
like, just doing the same thing,
We're reinforcing those neural pathways
choosing the familiar, the comfortable.
that keep us stuck.
Yeah, we're, like, stuck on a treadmill, basically.
Yeah, it's like choosing to stay on a treadmill instead of actually going out and, like, exploring a new path.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right.
Yeah, like, we're getting the workout, but we're not actually going anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the article, it actually gives some pretty cool advice, I thought,
Mm-hmm.
for, like, how to break free from that treadmill, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it says to pay attention to those recurring patterns of discomfort in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Those things that keep coming back.
Yeah, those things that are, like, no matter how hard we try to avoid them,
Yeah, they keep showing up.
they keep showing up.
It's like they're trying to tell us something.
Like, they're trying to tell us something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead of getting frustrated and, like, why is this happening to me again?
Right.
It's like flipping the script and saying, okay, what is this trying to teach me?
Exactly.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there might be a lesson there that we haven't quite learned yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like, even when it's really tough,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
when those challenges feel really big,
Yeah.
I'm going to try and remember that, that idea of Ida and Pingala,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the opposing energies.
Yeah.
And just remember that.
That it's a dance.
Life is a dance.
It's a dance between those two.
Yeah. Between comfort and challenge.
Yeah.
And that both are necessary.
Both are necessary
for growth.
for growth. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it for this deep dive.
Yeah.
You know, we've really explored this idea of how the universe might seem to, like,
Mm-hmm.
hate our comfort zones, but
Mhm.
really it's just,
It's guiding us.
it's guiding us.
Yeah.
Yeah, toward our full potential.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just want to thank you for taking this journey with me.
Oh, of course. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and to all our listeners out there, you know, keep exploring,
Yeah.
keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Keep diving